to the Garden Report. First thing I want you guys to know is that we value our producers here at CLNS
We
Media
do.
and the
We would
Garden
never throw
Report.
them under the bus.
So we don't throw producers under the bus.
Nope.
Having been on the other side of that ledger, I can tell you what a miserable thing that is for talent to do. We don't do that. So I'm going to
We never
start the
have.
show
We
by
never will.
saying thank you to producer Tim Shields. I could not ask for anyone better or anything more in a producer. And certainly no one would ever say anything bad about Amit.
Nobody
because
ever
we
would
all
say
know.
anything about, like, let's say, for example, you just missed a super on an ad read. Let's just say, for example, I wouldn't say anything about it if it happened.
We all know that Amit is Superman. Without Amit and Tim, this thing doesn't happen. So we're going to say thank you guys and dedicate this entire show to you.
Shout out to the producers. You know what? If they ever want to jump on, just jump on in the middle of the show. We'll allow that. We'll allow that on
Yeah.
here. They won't allow that on TV. We'll allow that on here.
Yeah.
I also
Yeah.
want to say this show has already gone on longer than really the Celtics game went tonight. It was over within, I think, 30 seconds. And we're already a
Yeah.
minute plus in. So shout out to us. Keeping it interesting
Yeah.
a little bit longer than the Celtics did tonight.
Jimmy got to the party and like the orgy was over. You know, he's like, hey,
Yeah,
what are we doing here?
I'm knocking on the
Everyone's
door and everyone's walking out.
We're all set. I'm spent. You know. So
Okay.
yeah.
That's,
so anyway,
that's quite the analogy.
so we're back. I've got about like 1% voice left.
Thank
but
God. We're all waiting
yeah.
for that zero.
Yeah. I whittled it down. I whittled it down to close to zero last time. But anyway,
And I want to say, I have better lighting in this show than I had my last show. I literally went on the YouTube to watch the last show back on Friday, and it was like a full conversation about how bad I looked.
yeah.
In fact, they were actually accusing me of being high, and not even on like marijuana. Like they were thinking like I was on hard drugs during the show. That's how bad I looked.
Fans think I've never done a show sober. So it is what it is.
Me
The
too.
fact is, like, I don't drink. So anyway, and we all know what people think about Josue.
We do.
We know what's gonna happen. We know what's gonna happen when Bobby
we're
gets on the
humans.
show, and we'll
We
allow
do.
it.
We'll get to it. Yeah.
I'm gonna start right out of the gate with Dirk and a super chat here, and I'm gonna say welcome Blake Griffin to the party. Okay. Started.
Oh man.
Did everything great, dunked out of nowhere, and didn't just dunk. He got up from a standing position and yoked it one-handed on an alley-oop. That's not something you think he can do.
You didn't think he
but
had that in him.
he won the opening tap, okay? Mr. I can't get off the ground. He won the opening tip. He threw down that dunk. On top of that, and I'm going to credit him with something really small to start this game. The Celtics got, as they do very often off of back-to-back games, they kind of get three happy, and obviously they hit every single one of them tonight, so it didn't matter. But Blake was good in the early going, keeping balls alive, and you know, on the offensive glass early, super active, diving, tapping for loose balls, doing all of the hustle stuff that he did. Really active, awesome game for him starting for Al Horford, who got a load management back-to-back night off, and Jaylen Brown got a night off. So, yes, I can get used to this too. And that's kind of where I was last night, Jimmy, is I can't find bad things to say because, again, when we sit here and we talk about like, no, but when you talk about like, oh, I wish they do more defense, or what have been the complaints, you know, that, and I'm not throwing Bobby under the bus here, but like Bobby, for example, his couple of things are too many threes. Let's not throw him under the bus. Too many threes. Defense has to get better. Neither one of those things are issues for me because I don't think the defense is really an issue, and I think it's there when they want it. And the threes, they're just going in. So what are we complaining about? It's this team is ridiculous right now. You're missing, fine. The Hornets are missing what? Is a million people. We know that, right? The Celtics are still missing three starters. The Celtics went out there and just like jogged every time. They would just walk up the court and be like, all right, what do we want to do on this possession? It's so ridiculously easy right now. I don't even know what to do anymore.
Yeah, it sucks. We can't complain about anything right now. We just have to praise them for 45 minutes to an hour, and it's not easy to do.
But it's more fun to praise this than the second half defense last year because you and I are offense guys first.
We are. No, this is fun. I'm joking.
And I can watch this. I can watch this all day.
This is great, and it's funny because you don't even really. sometimes it's not even anything that stands out. It's just like they just keep scoring. Like Tatum had 35 tonight, and like I know he had a couple of really nice moves, but it was like it just kind of happened. Like 140 points just kind of happened tonight. Like again, like I turned on the game a couple minutes late and it was already over. Like I was like, okay, I'm gonna still watch this, but there's no way the Hornets are gonna be able to compete. At least, even I know the Hornets were undermanned tonight significantly. The Celtics, we talked about them missing a couple guys, but they're just not in the same stratosphere. And the shots are falling at a ridiculous clip, 59% tonight, 40 assists, which I saw on the broadcast was the most since 2008. I believe it was. I forget the month I saw, but I think it was the championship team.
If only we had a producer. If only we had the type of producer that would generate those types of graphics for us. That would really be something.
That would be great.
Only.
Did I steal the stat? Because if I did, I didn't mean to. If I stole the stat, I didn't mean to. But
no, that graphic was coming. I was gonna make it Tim a hero, but it actually isn't here yet. My bad.
Well, we won't say anything about that.
I'll bring in Josue here, add some levity
while Nice transition. I like it.
What's
going on, fellas?
Josue,
what's up, vacation boy?
Partying here, guys. Everyone's going nuts. Yeah, fresh off vacation, and everyone's just partying ever since the beginning of the fourth quarter, man. What a performance! This Celtics team. Let me tell you. Have you guys started that conversation about one of the greatest offenses of all time yet, or not?
No, you can start it. You can start it right now. What do you got?
We were talking about orgies and Blake Griffin.
Yeah.
What?
Not
5
quite.
minutes in.
Two different stories. Two different stories,
boy.
but
that would happen. Unrelated.
We did mention both of those things. Yeah.
Blake's having a blast out there. Blake's loving it. I mean, we all knew that Blake's having a good time with this team, just being part of this team and the culture and everything. But today he really had a blast. Whether it was just 2 dunks and smiling back at the bench and
couple dunks
during garbage time, joking around with Tatum while Gino was playing. I was like, man,
opens the game with a 3, Josue, goes back the other way with the mouthpiece dangling out of his mouth, Steph Curry style.
Yeah, it was awesome.
He's chewing on the mouthpiece,
Yeah,
and he's smiling the whole time.
He was going out for that dunk, and he was just hearing, "I believe I can fly," and he was just going through the air with the hand up. Boom! The bench was unbelievable too. I mean, they were cheering like crazy at that. You can tell Blake. All joking aside, you can tell Blake is kind of a big part of this team. Everyone loves him. He's just that guy, I think. And I think that was one of the reasons why the Celtics did sign him. I don't think they didn't know what they were getting when they signed him. I think they needed a character guy on that team. They needed a guy that had veteran leadership capabilities and was a good locker room guy. And if he can come in and on a night like tonight and contribute that way, that's great. We were talking about this on the last show, how Al Horford can't be playing 35 minutes a game. And I'm not saying Blake's the substitute for Al Horford, but he's going to have nights where he takes off. You can get away with it. Exactly. You can get away with it.
The team's good enough to get away with whatever they want to get away with right now. That's what's crazy. Shout out to fellow homeschooler here, Crispin. Absolutely. You and Jimmy.
Let's go.
Stories.
Let's go. We got
swap some stories here.
You guys are both from that life.
Hey,
we're giving another $5 here. We have a special bond. Jimmy lighting. Yeah, I like it.
Thank you. Yeah.
Celtics put up 140. People start throwing money at us. Okay.
Everyone's in a good mood. We're happy. We're happy.
Dance. Keep playing.
Kornet's making money tonight. It's MJ. Once Kornet's contract's up, MJ's signing him to 3 years, $60 million after what MJ saw tonight.
Yeah, when you go to a Greek wedding, and I'm sure other cultures have things like this as well, there's no the band goes on, till whatever, and then they stop. It's if you keep throwing money at those guys, they'll play till friggin' 8 a.m. So at the end of the night, people just throw money on the floor and the band just keeps playing. As long as the money keeps getting tossed out there, they'll go and go and go. You guys want us to do a 24-hour podcast? Just toss those super chats out there. We will go and go and go.
It's going to be like 2:30 in the morning and we're just going to be like,
forget about it.
We'll see what this team's going to do.
Forget about it. It's not over until breakfast. Yeah.
No, but in all seriousness, man, I haven't seen the Celtics offense this good in a long time. I mean, you can go back to the Rondo days. You can go back to the first couple of months after the championship season. And it's still sort of like neck and neck right now. It's still somewhat early. I mean, what was it, 27-2? That team started off in the 2008, 2019?
Yeah,
KG went down.
They ran over everybody.
Right, but this is different though, right, Jimmy? Like this is like it's not 3 or 4 stars leading the show here. This is sort of well balanced. Obviously Tatum and Brown, but I just love the way this team roots for one another. I love how, like for example, look at what Derek White's been doing recently, right? Like when he first came on the team, he was just someone that's just trying to fit in. And now it seems like everyone wants to incorporate him. They want him to do well. You know, they believe in him because they know they've seen enough. Up until this point. And I think guys like that, and obviously Malcolm Brogdon, and with the second unit brings to the table, I mean, they're getting to the point where teams, they just don't have enough energy to keep up with them, midway through the third quarter. You can see that. You can see that night
it
after night.
It sucked the life out of them.
Last night, exactly. You saw it last night. You saw it again tonight. And on the second night of a back-to-back, I mean, it just shows a whole lot of character of this team for sure. I saw Brad Stevens walking the hallways, and I just looked at him, and he did like a classic. Brad likes to do his thing where he'll give you like a line and just like walk away. He doesn't, he's not one to try to stop and do a quick interview. And he just goes, it's just a fun Monday night. This is just a fun Monday night.
Well, that's the whole thing. It's
a clean fun for Brad. Good clean
fun. I'll throw out this comment here from Gus, and I totally agree. Like with the defense, was almost at the expense of offense, and it's the opposite here. And again, it just doesn't matter. It's just math. If you're outscoring teams by 10, 12 points, 15 points, but you're just scoring more and giving up more, that's fine. It's demoralizing, like in peak Golden State, sort of. You want to, first thing you said coming on, Josue, was, have you talked about greatest offense yet? Not necessarily comparing or historical, but it has that vibe where like you'd play those Warriors teams at the height of their powers, and you'd be close, and then all of a sudden you'd be down 17 points.
20 to 5 run or something.
25 run in like
just like
2
that.
minutes. And like they had 2 40-plus point quarters today. I tweeted this out. They had because I love this stat. They had 97 points with 4.5 minutes into the third quarter. They only eclipsed 97 points twice in the NBA Finals. I use that number all the time. That's the difference here. And it's just, you go down, you work really hard to get a bucket, and they come back, and it's bing, bang, boom, 3. And you're like, and it's relentless. They don't stop. They push after makes. They push after misses. They just go, 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 go. And we keep saying the same stuff, but you've been seeing it since day one of the preseason. They're playing with a commitment to push the ball and to put pressure on defenses and to move that ball around and get shots. And it's just unreal. It's like it's infectious right now. I think everybody, when they shoot it, expects it to go in.
Yeah, and it's like what Joe Mazzulla was talking about when he was asked, you see your team take 53 pointers in Chicago, is that good? And the first thing out of his mouth was, well, let me go back and see, because I think the majority of those were quality shots. Like he doesn't have any problem with the volume of the 3-point shots, but if they're good looks, they're good looks, and that's just sort of been the philosophy, and it's working. Guys are building confidence through that. And as these wins stack up, you're seeing the continuity flow 1 through 5. I mean, guys can switch off defensively, can keep up on offense. You never know who can get hot. I mean, everyone in the starting 5 can shoot threes. Even on nights when Jaylen Brown's not in the mix, like Griffin, the first shot he throws up is the 3. I just think that's the kind of confidence this team has. But it's not just about that being their identity, right? It's not just about them. When the threes are falling, they're tough to beat. No, it's just about them getting quality shots and building more confidence in that offense. And they're only going to get better in terms of trying to correct the defensive end of the floor. I mean, that's the way I see it, right? And we can say a whole lot about what Robert Williams is going to do when he gets back on the defensive side, but what about offensively, what he's going to do? I mean, look, we know it's going to take a bit. I don't want to, jump the gun here. But
can he fill the Kornet role? Yeah.
He has to ramp up. But if he's Lob City again, like if he's the guy that he was for this team offensively last year, I mean,
let's be real.
Going to create more problems for opposing defenses. Like it's going to be ridiculous.
Let's be real about it. And Jimmy kind of, needles Bobby a little bit on it here. But look at all of the easy buckets and dunks that Kornet had. He's not a guy. Look, he has spotted up from 3 on the rarest of occasion. That's not his game. He's not sitting on the baseline taking jumpers. He's rolling to the rim. He's looking for opportunities down low, maybe getting some offensive boards or putbacks. Now imagine a guy who jumps 3 feet higher than that, that's like
3 feet.
And when he jumps, he actually has a chance to block the shot. He's not jumping from 12 feet away from the player.
He's still blocking shots because his positioning's amazing. No, he had a couple today as well. Jimmy, you rock the Bee Gees. Is that what people are asking for?
Apparently, I'll have to learn that one. I don't know if I can just belt it out right now, but the Geno song.
The Geno track, you should be dancing.
Typically there's not many lyrics to that when they play it. Yeah, dancing.
Yeah, that one. Yeah. I can't hit those.
I was gonna say, Jimmy, the Bee Gees. That's high.
That's high up there.
The Gibbs. That's Gibbs level, bro. I don't know. Yeah, you can't even. It's tough.
That's hard.
I'm gonna crack the mic if I try to hit that note.
Drew, appreciate you, man.
Thank you, bro.
No, it's good stuff, guys. It's fun. I mean, it's just fun. Like it's fun. It's much more fun to do this. What I will say.
Did they have Geno tonight? They must have.
Yeah.
But they're respectful with Geno. They put it on literally at the buzzer. They don't taunt teams with Geno once they've taken 20-point leads.
We've gone
anymore.
so soft. Like,
it's soft.
Why can't we just have
really
that
this way?
I
think it's. I thought
it's like the last time out though. It's not like before where it was like if it's a 25-point game and there's 8 minutes left in the fourth, they would do it. But sometimes it's that
show
last
me
time
someone
out.
who loved anything as much as Kevin Garnett watched and loved Geno.
The
The best thing is just watching. Every time it was like the first time he'd ever seen it. You know. The best.
Yeah, it was always the best thing ever.
Every time he's like, "Oh my god!" Like,
I think he just loved killing. He just loved killing the other team. You know what it was? It was just like his way to just like rub it in a little bit. You know, and that's what I really. That's what
all right, we got
KG.
that. We've got that guy in the chat.
Okay.
I will say this.
Hey, they took care of business.
I wasn't gonna lead with it, but the Hornets should be investigated and probably moved out of that city for a second time. The city of Charlotte should probably lose an NBA team for the second time. Because what's going on here is disgraceful. I mean, in a lot of places in the NBA, I know there's some real injuries, but man, is this gross.
They've been through it. You know, it's not like
they are. They've got some bad luck.
Yeah, exactly. On paper, they're much better than just all the injuries. Were they nine deep going into this one? Yeah, it's tough.
Yeah, they were.
They're tanking. I mean, it's too bad because they were a fun team to watch the last couple of years. But man, they've got some injuries, I guess. I mean, they've obviously have that. You know, they've got more than just injuries going on over there. They've got some players that shouldn't even probably be walking the streets right now, I guess. But
we got some former Celtics that are both banged up. You know, Roseanne.
Yeah.
Hayward.
So. It's a tough situation. It happens, man. It happens quickly for some organizations, doesn't it? I mean, the Hornets were a team that people thought could make a push, and now all of a sudden, people are going to start accusing them of tanking because of how bad they look and how guys are missing time, and there's a couple of big prospects coming up here. But and if you're the Celtics, though,
it's going to get ugly.
Yeah, it's going to get ugly for them. But if you're the Celtics. Yeah, you obviously know that you beat up on a team in a bad place, but you beat up on them good. You played well. You got off to a hot start. I loved what I saw from, like, we didn't even mention his name yet. Marcus Smart, career high 15 assists tonight.
Yes.
We haven't really even talked about the game.
No, we haven't talked about the game really, but I mean, like, just things that stick out to me that you maybe aren't the first thing that you think of, but I mean, I know we're gonna talk about Luke when Bobby comes on, so I won't get into him too much
yet.
Is
he here yet? Because I'm fine. I'll do Luke talk, but it's everybody tonight.
Luke's talking right now, actually, so Bobby's.
Again, it's nothing against Luke. I love the way Luke is playing. I do
too. You had a little swagger with him tonight.
He's been great. I don't know what this is.
I'll tell you. You're not gonna
okay.
You're not gonna believe this, John. I know you remember. Jimmy, you remember this guy too.
Making shadow puppets, or
Bobby had no idea. Remember a guy named Stromile Swift who used to
of course
dunk
I do.
Yeah.
He would dunk on people like
Grizzlies.
Yes. Like I'm like, Luke, look at you knowing your classic dunkers, so to speak. Like,
wow.
It's an homage.
He was an LSU guy. Yeah, I remember.
He was a bust.
He was.
Yeah, but he was fun to watch. It was during that time when everyone was dunking and doing their thing.
This is an affectation.
Miles doing this.
Something an NBA bust used to do.
So Luke Kornet somehow is channeling his inner Stromile Swift right now. I mean, that is a combination I never knew.
I had Bobby Google Stromile Swift, and I said, ask him everything about Stromile and how this happened. Like you get the exclusive as to this connection between Luke Kornet and
that it's Stromile Swift.
He said
I gave
during the post-game interview.
Oh, he said.
You know how they did the parquet interview? Yeah, he did it with D'Amico.
I gave Bobby a homework assignment. I'm curious if he does it today.
Is it about Stroma?
No, it was to go ask people about the contest.
Oh,
he did.
He asked Joe about it.
Yes, yeah.
And
Joe
said,
he asked that question. Nice.
And Joe said, I kind of want him to stop doing it because people have realized when he goes up, they drive it. And Kelly Oubre did that tonight, which is funny.
That's funny. Yeah. It was only a matter of time. If you get it, it's like getting a guy jumping out of position.
It looked like Joey didn't appreciate the question a bit, for being honest. But,
really?
I mean, I just feel like no, I don't mean it like that, but I just mean like he's like, the more people keep talking about it, the more it's like people are going to find out. I mean, people already know about it now, but I just feel like it's sort of dying down a bit. You know, teams are kind of prepped for it. And even Matt Clifford was asked about it, and Bobby asked him about it, and he said that he noticed it last night. He was watching tape with him.
Yeah, and he's like, "What is this?"
Kind of hard not to notice.
What is this guy doing? This is idiotic. It obviously doesn't work. Let's explore it. Is that
jumping around on nimbly bimbly?
Well, he wouldn't flat out deny that it's not impactful. But he's like, there's no way it's as impactful as going into, trying to contest an actual shot. There's no way that you can compare the two. So. But
yeah.
Anyways, but Kornet had a great game. Marcus was ridiculous. Marcus almost had a double. If the Celtics didn't start going globetrotter for that about 2-minute stretch in the first quarter, they might have scored 50. And Marcus might have had a double-double in the first because they started getting silly just for a teeny pocket. He left that first quarter 10-8. Unbelievable. It's an unbelievable quarter. If they literally just didn't lose their focus for about 90 seconds, they would have put up a 50 spot and Marcus would have probably ended up with 10-10. No, but I mean, they were just, even with that, I think they had 6 turnovers in the first quarter. 5 of them came in that little teeny stretch where they were just whipping the ball all over the place, and they still put up whatever they did, 46. And
only 13 turnovers tonight for the Celtics.
And like I said, they had 6 in the first quarter, and they had 1 on the shot clock violation late. So they basically had none. I mean, they had so few the rest of the game.
0 turnovers.
They had like none in the second half.
So few. So few. Yeah, that my math says 0.
Yeah, we could just change the number there. Yeah, unbelievable. First time.
No, but I mean, very, very few turnovers for that many offensive possessions.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, you can go down the line. You can go down the line and just look at just like ridiculous numbers. I mean, we mentioned the 40 assists. I think that was the highest since 2008. 25 points off turnovers for them, which is a great place to be at. So, yeah, I mean, they just did it from. Listen, it's hard to keep a lead in the NBA. It's not necessarily hard to get a lead. It happens a lot, but to get a lead in the first quarter early on, like you did, and just keep it for 4 quarters, they're doing that more often now. Like they did that Friday night. They just had a lead and they kept it, They're not letting their foot off the gas. They're just playing connected on all facets of the game. They just feel like they're in mid-season form, and I know we're a quarter of the way into the year, so maybe that doesn't sound as cool as
it's the runs, Jimmy.
Yeah,
it's the runs. They don't go cold. They don't go cold for long. That's the thing.
They don't.
I mean, that and so every time, even like you watch that lead that was peaked at I think 29 or whatever it was in in the second quarter early, and it starts to trickle down. It gets to 19. There are versions of the Celtics we've seen before where that would get all the way down to 12 or something, and you'd be like, "Come on, guys,
dude, we've seen them blow
all the way."
Completely.
And instead, they're like, "Nope, boom, 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 back to 26 and off and running again." They don't do it. This happens a ton. They get leads. I forget what stat it was. Bobby put it up. They get however many double-digit leads they have, or how many straight games they've had, or how many games this season. And teams will kind of cut it to 6, 8, 4, and then they're like, "Yeah, no, bang, right back to 15." And they just do it every time. It's unreal.
They do it with like a dunk. You know what I mean? Like they just totally just shut you up after. You think you're going on a run? Oh, 9-0 run, boom! Jason Tatum slams it in your face, and like the crowd's back in it, and now it's it's over again. Just when you thought you had a pulse, you don't.
Yeah. I'll entertain this question. I don't know who you sign in the offseason. Josue, I don't know if you have a thought.
Am I not here?
I don't know.
Grant.
Well, it was only for us, but Josue's a Grant guy.
Yeah, I mean, I just think when you talk about trying to save money, I mean, out of the 2 players, I think Grant Williams will probably command less, right? I mean, out of the 2.
Jeremy Grant's much better overall. I mean, on the offensive side. On the offensive end, he can still get after it, though.
He can't shoot.
I think.
Well,
Grant obviously his 3-point shooting is.
I take it back. I think he's having a decent shooting year. But
you better look at those stats and take it back.
I gotta look it up. I gotta look it up now. I think he had a down year last year, right?
Kinda, yeah. But he took on a different role, and I think
he's shooting really well this year. Those two years in Detroit from Denver, he was down. He's got 48%. He was 35%. His overall field goal percentage was 42%. He kind of dipped a little bit. He's
shooting almost 50% from three.
He's having a much better year in Portland.
No, you take Grant. I'll take Jeremy. I'll take Jeremy Grant. You take Grant Williams.
You take Jeremy Grant. We were talking about Marcus earlier. I don't know about Prime Rondo. Rondo was insanely dynamic and a different player and not the same defensive type of guy. I don't think they're great comps here. Also, Rondo had insane vision. He was just frustrating because he played in his own head, and it just kind of was world according to Rondo, and sometimes he'd hold the ball too long. I think he was
a pretty polarizing guy. I think we can all agree.
He wouldn't make the easy pass. He always looked for the perfect pass. He dribbled the air out of the ball too long.
I think Doug. Yeah. No, I was going to say, I think Doc nailed it when he used to say that he's thinking like 3 plays ahead, you know? Like, I think that's the part where sometimes it would get like to the point, like you said, he'd be in his own head and he would be sort of out of sync with the rest of the team. But during his prime years, when he was a guy who could still put up buckets and still put up, 17 points a night or whatever, I just don't think that's the same kind of guy we're seeing out of Marcus. Now, Marcus is in his own right, obviously becoming the guy that we always wish he could be, which is this is it, right? Efficient scoring, getting double digits in assists.
9 3-point
Most importantly, picking the right spots when to take that 3-point shot, and chances are it's going to work in his favor. And you're seeing how he's corrected that ever since last year in terms of being the one who takes the smarter, no pun intended, but takes the smarter looks as opposed to trying to do the ones that were like hero shots or out of sync, or when the offense ran dry, he would say, okay, now I got to go into scoring mode. He's just reading the defense at this point, and he's also he's been very efficient around the rim. I can't say enough about that, man. The dribble between the legs and
the Euro step left.
Man, it's like textbook. And I'm like, whoa.
He almost comes to a dead stop on those. It looks like he completely blew a tire, and then he turns over to the left and just puts it up with that left hand. It's been pretty impressive.
Ghosted Luka last week with that, and other players as well. I mean, it's not just not just that one moment in a marquee matchup. I mean, he can get anybody at any given time and finish strong. And like you said, he's even tougher with the left, as you said last week.
He's insane right now. One of the big differences from him is finishing at the rim, I think, for sure, because that's something he's struggled with. The 3-point percentage is what it is, and he had a really good night tonight, but it's been low. He's definitely finishing better. He's posting up at the right times. I think that they've used that when they wanted it to, and again, overall, I think he's been great. Take a quick pause. We do want to tell you.
I love Rondo, though. I got to say that. I got to slide that in.
You were a Rondo guy?
A big Rondo guy.
Rondo.
I think he's going to be a really good coach someday if he wants to be. I think he's super smart, and I think players.
I like Rondo better after he left here than I did when he was here. He drove me crazy. But let's talk about one of our sponsors, Athletic Greens.
We would have had Rondo debates.
We all started taking AG1 because we wanted to, take control of our health, which AG1 allows you to do without having to chase all the new trends and what's going on. It's kind of one-stop shopping. 75 high-quality vitamins, minerals, what have you, into a scoop of water, done, and that's it. Good for your gut health, nervous system, immune system, energy, recovery, focus, aging, basically everything that you're trying to do when you go out there looking for nutritional supplements. Lifestyle friendly, diet friendly, virtually no sugar, highly endorsed products. So time to reclaim your health, arm your immune system, convenient daily nutrition, 1 scoop in a cup of water every day. That is it. No need for a million different supplements. To make it easy, Athletic Greens and the Garden Report are going to give you a free 1-year supply of immune-supporting vitamin D and 5 free travel packs. You just have to go to athleticgreen.com/garden. Again, that's athleticgreens.com/garden to take ownership of your health and pick up the ideal nutritional supplement. Also, we want to tell you, of course, about Calm, Jimmy's favorite product, calm.com/garden. It's the #1 mental wellness app. You get a 40% off your premium subscription when you go there. We're talking about nature sounds, music tracks, curated music tracks. Jimmy, what else do you have? You're the big user here.
Well, sleep stories are a big one.
Sleep stories you love.
Calm of the day is my go-to.
What is it?
The calm of the day.
The calm of the day. Yeah, they've got some
like
good
breathing
wisdom.
exercise. Yeah, like 13, 14 minutes, really quick. It's good.
Don't forget to breathe. That's important. And I'm joking about it, but there's actually a lot of good breathing exercises in there, and you'd be surprised at what it can do to just help you out
So
there.
Brett's a fan of the show, and he wanted to see how negative John would be today.
John, I don't want to hear no BS today, my brother.
Who's saying that?
This is Brett. He's a big fan of the show.
He said no negativity.
Yeah,
today.
get out of here. I'm gushing. People don't even know who I am anymore. Good to see you, buddy. I saw you at the finals. He said, hey, we talked at the finals.
That's awesome.
Game 4. No. Yes, 4. Anyway, what's up,
man?
We're
sleep
happy.
stories.
I was telling him, I said he might be positive on this one. I don't know.
No.
People jumping in the screen. Yeah, that's calm.com/garden. That's you can't get a better plug than that. What just happened there? That's the plug right there. So calm.com/garden, 40% off sleep stories, meditation. Josue's got the breathing exercises going, and the rest is just history, I guess.
Get it.
The rest is your rest. How about that?
Relax your body and your mind, okay? Calm.com/garden, 40% off a premium subscription and phenomenal t-shirts, which I know Nick Gelso has already started sending out. DM me.
You have one?
No, not to me yet.
Jimmy, stop.
I thought you were the guy getting them.
My first live heckler on the show. I love it.
Every time. You can't bring up the shirt without Jimmy saying something about it.
No, he's talking about the other guy.
Brad. Yeah.
The guy on your screen.
Oh,
your guy. No, Jimmy heckles me a lot. That's part of the fun.
Believe it or not, though, John, and I think he shares the same sentiment with a lot of our viewers. They like how they somewhat like how negative you are because it's just great for the show. So they're curious as to how negative you'll be after a win.
How can he twist this? How can he twist it? No, he's not negative. He's a realist. That's what he'll say. He's
Jimmy,
a realist.
You used
but
to
he
be on
always
my
says
side.
John drives.
No, I'm listen. We remember the old panic meter that we had, like that.
Yeah.
That still holds true. If you have it, that's kind of where I'm at compared to where you are and Josue and Bobby. I'm somewhere in the middle.
The roots of the show were Jimmy and I saying none of these pretenders can beat the Celtics. They're going all the way, and Bobby saying, "I don't know. I love Toronto. I love Miami's good." And Jimmy and I were like, "Nah,
nope." And now we're spurned lovers now.
Now we're back. What we saw for a little while after that was very, very, very ugly and hurtful, and it really got to us. And
because the team
was
mean. Switch up like every other quarter, man. Those are weird times. Plus the injuries.
I'll take it. You guys can let me have it. I don't care. Live hecklers or in the chat.
We love hecklers. You know what they say, John? They don't boo nobodies, right? They don't boo nobodies.
Keep it respectful. Don't be mean to each other or any of the hosts here on the program. We like to have a nice Celtics community here. You can crap all over what we say. Just keep it clean. Anyway, so
you can be mean to me.
Josue, what was the top reaction of the night? Was it on the Blake dunk?
Yes. Yeah, the second one, the alley-oop, the one-hander for sure. And then the Luke Kornet. The alley-oop from Marcus to Kornet. That was probably the loudest it got. And he did this. Everyone just lost their, like, just seeing him.
Had a little swagger going.
Like, players off the bench are doing the same thing. And I look at Bobby. I'm like, I know I've been on vacation, but is this his new thing? He's like, no, this is the first time I've ever seen him look through that. I was like, oh, all right.
Was Bobby, like, sweating? What was Bobby after that run?
He was grinning from ear to ear, man. Loving it.
He definitely.
I can't believe this. No, something like that.
I'm gonna wait and actually ask him. I'm gonna wait for that.
Yeah.
We're reserving all of the Luke stuff for Bobby. He better get out here soon.
You better have some good Stromile Swift story too. I want to get to the bottom of this.
I do not have the pipes to continue on here for much longer. Okay, so we're gonna need Bobby out here.
Yeah. So what's the story with your voice? You have a crazy weekend?
Nothing, man. Just got a cold on Thanksgiving. By the end of the night, throat was all dry, and I had stuff to do. Friends in town. We were going out. Friday we went out. By the end of the night, I couldn't talk at all. Then Saturday, Sunday, same thing. Just literally just being around people and talking. I just haven't been able to recover. Show yesterday, show tonight. I teach tomorrow, show on Wednesday. Too much talking. I got to shut up.
You also,
I was going to say,
sure everybody.
A lot of stress on those pipes.
But you also speak into every text you send too. Are you doing that right now? Because that's unnecessary.
Yeah, you do that too.
I'm
He screams into every text he ever sends. So I mean, like,
no
imagine
way, Jimmy.
Yeah, literally though. It's all spelled wrong, and every word is spelled.
That's ridiculous, Bobby.
And then you go in there and correct the typos. Sometimes.
Yeah, some very off, very.
Only when it's misconstrued to be something else. Like it's kind of like, wait, what are you saying?
Yeah.
But when it's
John,
obvious, you won't say.
Shut up, figure it out. It's not that hard.
Yeah.
And the text always spells Jalen, Jaylin. That's how I know.
He just screams into it.
That's a voice text. For some reason, spells it Jalen.
Real quick,
with an I.
Were the pies a hit? Because I think people were wondering from Wednesday's show if the pies were a hit.
Let me tell you this.
What kind of pie you made?
So I made a cherry.
Dude, the pictures are still here. The pictures
cherry,
are still
pumpkin,
here.
and apple. They looked gorgeous.
Where are they? They were
I don't
here
know.
somewhere. Bobby pulled them up once. They're there. Anyways.
Are they? My wife, who has like the most sensitive taste buds, I was like, "How are they?" And she was like, "Last year's were better." And I was like, thousand daggers. And I was like, "What's wrong?" And she was like, the crust was a little bit doughy. Last year's was flakier." And then I couldn't believe it, and I didn't even want to eat anymore after she said that. And then
your throat started to hurt immediately.
Then my throat started to hurt. I started to question a lot of things about myself.
It's like, just lie to us. Just lie
But then I went back the next day and I had a slice of pie, and I was like, "What is she talking about? This crust is delicious." And then she had another slice. And she was like, "I think I was wrong. It was really good. I don't know why I didn't like it on that first day, but I went like 2 or 3 days hating myself."
Yeah. I don't know why I ruined your Thanksgiving. I don't know why.
She was like, last year I've had better. I was like, oh.
I guess like
John
that's
was
marriage,
like that. John was like that meme of that Narcos meme when the guy sitting alone like on the spot, just looking around. Like,
so you guys are way past
my wife.
Point.
I've had better.
Yeah.
Seriously.
Yeah. It's not the first time you heard that. Come on, man. You can't let it really. You can't let it
imagine
get you that bad.
if you dropped that line to her, if things were the other way around. Oh man, that would not go over.
Right, exactly. Like, "This is great, honey." No, she just.
Yeah.
I you know what? I cook a lot. They're not all going to be home runs. This one was a mistake. She took it back. She was like, "Actually, it was really good." So they were good.
Better. Love that.
But yeah, that's good. Everyone's trying to somehow tie everything that's happening here into Jalen handles jokes, and they don't all fit, guys. They don't all fit. Yeah, no. I was. Yeah, I untied my apron. I threw it in the trash.
That's funny.
It was pretty bad. How was your vacation, Josue? We'll filibuster until Bobby gets here a little.
Is he coming?
It was amazing. I got to go to spend some time at Universal Studios, the place I always wanted to go as a kid, man. And it was just incredible.
What'd you do? Tower of Terror?
Huge family reunion. No.
In Florida?
No, that's in Disney, isn't it?
Yeah. I don't know. No.
You mixed me up.
You were down in Orlando?
I was, yeah, but I didn't do the Disney thing. We did Universal Studios and Busch Gardens, which is underrated, by the way. They have some good roller coasters.
Busch Gardens.
I'm a huge roller coaster guy, and I haven't done that in a while.
I am too, but I think I might have vertigo now. The last couple I went on, I had to hold on to stuff after I got off. I used to be crazy for.
Well, you know what it is, dude. These roller coasters
the drop
now.
is a little different now. Yeah.
These roller coasters, they're pushing it, man. I think everyone has vertigo when they get off.
They're purposely trying to lift you out of your seat now. It's like, whoa.
It's like the space shuttle stuff. Like when you do your training, and then everybody's like, "Oh my god!" Like you're just not used to that kind of G-force.
I haven't been on a legitimate roller coaster in a long time. I don't even know.
You guys really speed this up now.
Anymore.
I did. I was on a Harry Potter one where they strap you in and turn
I did
around.
that one. Was it at Universal?
Yes, at Universal, and I walked out of there holding onto the wall like I'd had 40 beers. Like I was just trying to just get me there. And I was like tiptoeing. I couldn't. I was like light and heavy. Oh, it was so weird.
Do you have to be a Harry Potter guy to like really enjoy the Harry Potter world?
No, but you feel like you're sort of missing. You're missing out on the inside.
You don't get. You don't get a lot of it.
When you walk into like Diagon Alley, which is like the area where like they shop for the stuff that like looks like the movies. It's very cool. You go into a wand shop, you go into and get like a butterbeer. So like some of that stuff is called
butterbeer. You're getting excited on me. I knew we had a Harry Potter dork in the show tonight.
I'm an everything dork.
Wow.
Was the butterbeer good? Did I miss out? I didn't do the butterbeer.
Harry Potter himself, he's going to show up with a scarf on the next show.
This is halftime of the postgame show, guys. This is what we're doing here. Halftime of the postgame show.
The price that they were seeing those wands, it was insane, and people were buying them.
What are they, like $50 a wand?
Yes, and they had like 7 of them. John, you might know what's the difference between
John, you've probably got a couple back there. Show us what the wand looks like.
What are we asking about?
The Harry Potter wand. Did you buy one?
I've got wands. Why
are they so special? Jeez.
Because each one, guys, do we have to?
Come on.
The wand chooses the wizard, Jimmy.
Say no more. I should watch one of the movies. I should watch a couple.
The wand.
They're kind of Christmassy, aren't they? Kind of Christmassy too.
I told my cousin I might watch one. I was like, maybe I'll watch one. But I had a blast.
Yeah, all my girls love that stuff. The last time I freaking went into Boston, they always want to go to the Harry Potter store on Newbury Street, and I walked out with 2 friggin' owls for like. They each got stuffed owls. They each cost like $45. I'm like, can't I go into Boston and not spend $130 on swag? Like I'm a friggin' tourist. I've lived here my whole life.
Yeah,
unbelievable.
Yeah, it was. We were rolling deep, so we had a lot of like little kids with us and stuff, and they were going crazy. So it was good. It was a great time. Man. Yeah.
So
you didn't go mouse ears?
What's up?
You didn't wear mouse ears?
No, man, that's Disney.
Okay.
Go to Disney.
Okay. Different worlds.
Maybe next time. Disney I've been to as a kid. I'm not one of those guys that's been there as an adult though. Have you guys been?
No, I haven't.
John, you were probably in dad mode.
I went in dad mode with one child.
That's how I want to go.
We're going to California in February. Disney in California.
Disneyland.
We're going out there because we have relatives out there with all the kids. So we'll see what happens. Bobby Manning, go. You got about 6 minutes to do.
Bobby Potter.
Yeah.
What's the Stromile Swift story? Bobby Potter.
Yeah. What do you got for us on Stromile?
Luke said he actually took it from Grant. So I guess you can credit Grant for that one.
So why did he mention Stromile Swift in that interview with D'Amico?
I think Grant took it
got
from him, and then Luke did nod back to Grant, and then
Bobby, how did you not start the show like this once I got you in there?
I'll hang on.
Bobby, why are you whispering? Why are you whispering? Get excited. Loosen up the collar a little bit. Your boy just had a career night.
At this point, you just got to treat it like it's a normal thing.
This
isn't
just another day at the office.
Like, guys,
it's just another day.
Celebrating this. Stop celebrating. This is real, right?
This isn't an anomaly anymore. Yeah, it's crazy to see him build with each game. And this is important stuff, I think, that having these guys build confidence in moments like these, games like these. Obviously, this was just as bad of an opponent as you'll ever see. On the other side, given all the guys that were out on that end. So you were expecting a result like this, but to see different bench guys, specifically Luke, get those high-flying moments, I think it was important. And we said this after the Knicks game, too, to get Blake that moment, given all the contributions he's given them off the floor, to get those 2 dunks from him, I thought was ginormous. And everybody seems thrilled about that, except Joe, who was pretty I think low key on this one, saying that we still get 60 more games. I'm not
I feel like that's
the
Joe.
vibes like everybody else. Yeah, he was trying to come in cold on this one, and just keep the energy pretty even keeled going in. What I think are probably going to be 2 pretty tough games against Miami. Remember that rock fight from the game of the season against them? I think this is going to be a tough little mini series here against them. They got more of their guys back. I don't know what Jimmy Butler's status is. That's obviously pretty important, but. You're at a softer stretch here that's behind you now. It's going to ramp up pretty quickly into this next month. And I think you're finally going to see this team tested a little bit, which is going to be good because, man, they've just been rolling now for a month.
What else was the vibe coming out of the interviews?
I didn't catch the Smart and Brogdon ones. We were with Luke and Blake in the locker room. I talked to Sam a little bit. I still think it's pretty impressive how those guys developed up in Maine. You know, like this style that they're playing now, and I've talked about this on the show before, is a style that they were playing up in Maine last year. So, you know, you look at Sam, you look at Luke, these are really the first two guys. You know, this is something we've talked about, John, that they've developed, that they've brought up through their system, that they've kind of, you know, put in positions to succeed within their system. Like they haven't brought up many young players, you know, on the back end of their roster over, you know, the last really 10 years here. So to finally see like kind of the organization replenish themselves on the back end, it's important, I think. And, you know, I've heard this from them too, that like they value this like development that they're starting to ramp up here in the back end of the organization. Like this is super important. We've talked about it on a million different shows. You know, the value of Luke as that backup center, the value of Sam coming off the bench. We talked about it yesterday. This is just super impressive. Everything about this season has just been so impressive. Like the ease with which they rest players, the way Blake steps into the starting lineup after not playing since November 16th, the way Luke's soaring for dunks. It's just everything's hitting right now. There's almost nothing negative. They're defending now too at a high rate.
Yeah, I mean, again, grain of salt with this team. Obviously, not a lot of offensive firepower, but what else do you want them to do? They built a 30-point lead against a team like this in the first quarter, while also missing three key players. It's really hard to complain about anything, Bobby. And again, I do agree. The defense is there when they want it, and they do play it. And they've definitely had better defensive efforts, I think, in the last 10, 12 games than they did over the first few. But the vibes also, right? I mean, like, it's just a friggin' party.
It was like a dance party in the Garden for the whole fourth quarter.
Right?
You had the Geno time firing off. Yeah. And think about that. If you look back 1 year ago today, we were probably doing a post game about a show where the booze were raining down. You know, this might have actually been 1 year ago today, the Chicago meltdown.
My
where
God.
Smart's calling them out and Tatum and Brown. That was a month ago, maybe or a year ago, a year and change. So it's crazy how it's flipped in a year. They're on top of the world. No one can really touch this team right now. And I've really started to wonder. I know we'll see them play the Bucks and all these other teams at the top of the league right now, but I wonder if we're going to get to the point where this team just sort of emerges in like a league of its own. Like those Warriors did in the middle of the last decade. That's the kind of dominance we're seeing right now. It's so crazy to watch. And obviously they're only building on this all-time offensive rating, number one by a decent amount of all time right now in offensive rating, over 120 points per 100 possessions. And that's for the entire season, 21 games.
Yeah, no, it's
phenomenal.
Yeah, and that you want is unbelievable.
Did you guys talk about Smart yet?
I tried to mention him for
in the 45 minutes we waited for you to talk to Luke. We did cover a few topics. Yes,
62 assists over 7 games, and I think he's building his all-star cases we've talked about.
Oh, really? I didn't hear that discussion. You think he's an all-star?
I think he's getting there. I gotta throw these names together.
I think the best league can typically get 3 all-stars to the game.
That's what I was telling Bobby.
That was the conversation we had last game. The best? We used Milwaukee as an example. Where Middleton got in maybe against guys who had better stats. Problem is Smart's point per game is going to if Smart was 14 with his assist numbers, I think he would get in. The fact that he's in and around 10 points is what's probably going to cost him, because it's going to be hard to put him in over a guy like Garland, who's going to just be averaging like 24 points a game.
It's a coach decision, correct?
Those spots.
Yeah, Joe could be coaching the team, right?
Well, if someone's hurt, though,
that's true.
He could be someone who fills in.
Well, yeah, I mean, like the reserves.
In that case.
Reserves are typically.
Point,
no,
but I mean,
my point.
No. I'm talking about the what he said about the his point average.
Numbers.
But
sure.
Rondo got in though. Not to go down this comparison again, but Rondo, what was he? 14.
But it's not Joe. It's all the coaches. But you can see the coaches do say that they do. They said it last year. They said, being a good player on a winning team is much harder than putting up stats on a shit team, and they do favor that. So because the coaches make the situation determine those reserves. A guy like Smart does have a chance. I just think, like I said, if the scoring was up a little, it's somewhat easier to. But when he's in and around 10 points per game, it's going to be tough. I still think he's got a legitimate shot. And if he does, people will freak the hell out because they'll be like, what?
Good. I hope they do. I hope
But
they do.
no.
But you know what? He's a fun guy to watch. I don't know if really he's just not really much of an all-star player.
Horford used to make it, remember?
Yeah, I mean, I think the
there's
All-Star
no centers,
game,
right?
There's no defense in the All-Star game either. There's no diving for balls and all this energy stuff. I don't know if you're trying to win, I don't know if that's maybe the guy that would make the team. But regardless, you could have 3 players on the team. You could theoretically have Grant Williams and Hauser in the 3-point contest, and you could have Luke Kornet in the dunk contest. So you could have a lot of guys representing the Celtics.
Kornet in the dunk contest. You might
Again,
have to send
I want to see
Grant serious face that whole time.
I was waiting for somebody to react.
What are you saying right now?
Grant, Hauser, Derek White, and Al Horford all in the 3-point.
I was waiting for that smirk. I was waiting for the Jimmy smile.
I was waiting for somebody to
Luke,
what are you
Luke
talking
will win Luke will win the dunk contest with celebrations. It can just be
Good.
average dunks, but epic celebrations.
No, send
Stroma, I was telling Josue John.
Javonte Green to the dunk contest. That's what I want to see.
Yeah.
I was telling Josue John, I didn't know it was Stromile Swift. That one's before my time. I didn't.
We found out
that
that
reference went over my head.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Can you
you're
fill
gonna
me
have
in
to
on
brush
them?
up. You're gonna have to brush up
as
with your
soon
early
as I thought-
2000s
As soon
basketball.
as I thought
Good
early
college
2000, I was like,
player.
nah, you're not gonna know this dude.
Good college player, good athlete, high draft pick, bust of an NBA player. There's no reason you should know who he is unless you're of that era because he just wasn't
Yeah.
anything. He
But
wasn't.
you're just an NBA
But
junkie.
there were a lot of players like that, though. There were a lot of players that they were trying to figure out if they could be more than just a dunker or an athletic guy on defense, and a lot of those guys just didn't pan out. He was one of them.
Yeah.
Darius
Yeah.
Miles, who was a Celtic for a little bit. Remember?
Darius
He got cut.
Miles.
A hot minute.
Yeah.
That was in at the time.
He
right,
was less
John?
of a bust.
Like high
He
flyers,
was less of a bust.
you know.
Miles
He was
had a
less of a
career.
bust. That's true.
He had a career. Clippers.
But
That
most
is
of those
true.
guys, they didn't play no more
Yeah,
than
same.
5-6 years.
Yeah, you're right. That's just the way it was back then. Bobby, did you slide into Luke's sister's DMs and just say how about Luke tonight?
No.
Not yet? Well, I mean, that's something I would have thought about maybe.
I am waiting for them to show up to the game, so I don't think I've seen them at a game yet. That'll be fun when they finally do. They're a fun
That would be
group.
fun. Okay. Oh, you know the family.
Yeah.
Christmas dinner.
Obviously, Dad played in the NBA with the Bucks. I think he was on Tito Horford's team too. That's kind of a fun connection
Yeah.
between their families there. So yeah, they'll be fun when they show up. The Horfords will be here at some point too, I assume. So that'll be an electric night at the Garden when they join forces.
What? Okay. Yeah, probably. It must be.
Electric.
Whatever. Jimmy won the family moment. I just gave my analysis.
No, that's pretty good. I had no idea that they were.
Oh, yeah, you asked,
that they played
Jimmy.
each other. I did
Fair
ask.
enough.
I did ask in my defense.
Yeah,
Or in Bobby's
defense.
Yeah.
Other picking up the pieces for tonight, and again, we got the back-to-backs with Miami, both at home Wednesday and Friday, and then off to Brooklyn on Sunday. Bobby and Josue will be covering those games in Brooklyn as well as obviously the Miami stuff. Yeah. It gets more fun. You got West Coast games coming up in a week after that. Schedule gets more interesting. You definitely want to see where they go. When is Milwaukee?
I kind of like back-to-backs
Christmas.
against the same team a lot.
That's
Christmas
the
Day.
first meeting against Milwaukee.
That's it.
Yeah.
That's here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Save it for the big
Not
day.
that far from now, John. Get your Christmas shopping started, bud.
Get your
It's
Christmas hat
3
out.
weeks from now.
Decorations up.
My wife does all the Christmas shopping and she's phenomenal at it. But when she asks me, "What do you think of the presents?" I'm going to tell her, it's better last year.
Better
You did
last.
a better job last year.
Yeah. How does she like it?
We gotta
Oh,
get.
Bobby, you weren't here for that. John's pies were not as
They
much.
weren't as well received. I think I mentioned it in the last show. It's all right.
I heard.
I'm over it.
And John
Clearly-
tossed his apron
clearly
across
you're
the
over it.
room.
I threw
know
my
what?
apron.
I kind of love this thing where teams play the same team twice in a row.
Oh, I love it.
I want to see that more often.
We love series. Yeah, I love
We
that.
love series.
like it
I
too.
want to see it. It's like a little bit of a chess match, who's gonna make the adjustments. Is there any bad blood from the first game going
Love
to
it.
the second game? Plus, it cuts
how
down
you
on
play
travel
them
too.
off the second game.
Yeah.
After you played them in the first, great.
I love it. I wish they did it more often, but especially a team like the Heat, where there's a little bit of a history there. There's
It
been
was a little
some
tense in that last game. Remember, second game of the year, Bam and Co were kind of going at it.
You've got the previous playoff series, the last couple of seasons, and like there's
East Finals rematch.
I'm not gonna say there's bad blood because I wouldn't go that far, but there's definitely in today's NBA, it's about as I would say competitive as you can get against another team. So,
yep,
I love it. Bring it on. It's fun.
We love it. Couple things I wanted to talk about. Picking up the pieces, just putting, as we like to say, or as I like to say, and you guys like to make fun of me for saying, a bow on this. But couple things I thought were worth talking about.
Think of a Christmas bow every time you say it.
Yeah. The Gordon Hayward story. He's out. Hold on. Because of a fractured shoulder.
I think Sherrod caught up.
Pick
with
an
him.
injury. Just pick one, and he might have it.
We'll get that story soon, I'm sure. Sherrod talked to him before the game.
Yeah.
Oh, nice.
So here we go again with.
It's too
with
bad.
that.
We mentioned it, Bobby. I think when we were on the show, it's just too bad that whatever Gordon Hayward does, like he just ends up on the injured list somehow.
And Robyn jumps in and accuses of mishandling the injury.
Shocker.
So that gets dramatic. Robyn's not happy. Robyn's not happy with an organization.
She's not happy with North Carolina.
I'm sensing a trend here.
That's something new.
How should they have handled it according to Dr. Robyn?
I guess he played with it.
Okay. Did they like put a gun to his head and make him play with it?
I don't know.
I feel like he's a big boy and probably could not have played.
No.
Didn't want
but
to.
That happened. Don't have much to say about it other than I just can't believe what's going on with this guy in the
Is it the end for him?
I have no idea. I mean, I think that these are all injuries you come back from.
He's got 4 kids.
But I mean, he's legitimately made of glass. I really do think he is brittle. The thing that gave it away for me is that time where he broke his arm on a screen. His hand. That's just a normal. That literally happens 8,000 times a game, and you broke your hand there. I just.
Is it a calcium issue?
It's not. Just some people.
Is it AG1? Do you think? Maybe it's.
I don't think John has the Deuce file, man. Like, I don't know.
Some people
Bobby,
just aren't made to play really physical sports. He might be one of them. The other thing we wanted to mention is welcome back to the league, our friend Kemba Walker. We wish you no ill will. It obviously didn't work out here. Everyone roots for Kemba. Kemba was a great guy.
Why didn't they sign him a week ago? We could have seen him here in Boston.
Could have seen him here. Celebrate everything Kemba did, even in a short time. It was a real bummer with how things kind of went sideways with him with the injuries. It sucked watching him be a DNP CD all those games with the Knicks and being shopped around and bussed around and just released and deactivated and not seeing the court. So Dallas bringing in Kemba, it's great. Let's see what happens there.
Do we know
but
what the
we obviously
details
root for him.
Do you know what the details of the contract are? Is it just the rest of the year, or is it what is it? Do we know?
I think it'll be a rest of the year, minimum.
Nice. I mean, like John said, I think everybody has a little bit of a soft spot for Kemba. I mean,
I don't get how there's not a place for him. I mean, even when he was here, I remember in the late stages, Jimmy, I'm like, just run him off the bench. He's not the guy. You can't start him anymore. He's too much of a liability. But just get the good that he brings, which is some instant offense.
Can't give you 15 minutes a game. Something like that. There's no way.
I'm surprised more teams haven't found that. It's also why I'm surprised Isaiah couldn't find a home all those years. You don't want a guy who can kind of fill it up in little spurts here, even if he is, short and a defensive liability. Strange that there was never a place for him. So hopefully Kemba finds his groove.
It's tough because I don't think he's a guy who's going to thrive in short bursts. I think he's a guy who needs that rhythm, who needs bigger minutes. Obviously, you spell out the defensive concern there. And what worries me, in all the sort of reporting that's come out of this signing is that it feels like they're sort of relying on him. Now, they didn't sign him for $20 million like the Knicks did, but they're saying this is going to be their secondary creator off Luka. And if that's who they're relying on for that, I don't know how that's going to go. especially in
Marcus,
playoff
Marcus,
situation.
real quick. Marcus in the chat, throw your comment up there.
Throw
you
your
don't have to
comment
put a
up.
super chat up there.
What you
Just
should
throw
have
your
done
comment
was-
up and we'll put it up there.
Should have added his comment after he said, "Hey, we missed my super chat." Then tell us what your comment was. You just paid us $2 to tell us that we missed your first comment.
I will
You know
say
what I mean?
Kemba Walker is my greatest non-apology cam of all time, and the reason I don't do apology cams is because of Kemba Walker. So I thank
Hey,
him for
the
that
Luke
as well.
one's gonna come soon.
Ooh,
We'll
that's
see.
true.
We'll see.
You gonna take them?
That's true.
No, it's Luke is in
You better be
contention.
an all-star. I think he'd have to be an all-star level for maybe not all-star level. I don't know. What do you guys say? Like, at what point will we have to apologize?
I need to believe that someone's got to convince me that Luke is better than any 7-footer playing with these guys would be if you just put him in there. You know what I mean? I don't know how much it's Luke, and I don't know how much it's literally this team
Come
is so
on.
freaking good. Anybody in that position would be doing roughly the same thing. But I like Luke right now. I like what he brings, but I don't really know. I mean, Rob comes in and their offensive rate, Rob comes in and Luke goes down to 1 minute every 3 weeks. We can probably say yeah, he was a byproduct of what was going on here, and then their game takes off another level. But if Luke keeps playing legitimate minutes because he's earned them and they like what they see, that changes the conversation for sure.
For sure. And then we'll
So
get
we'll
the
see.
screen out.
Yeah.
I will say
think-
we gotta get a big Luke Kornet profile going. It's overdue. It's coming.
Isn't
go
that
for it.
literally what you write weekly?
Yeah, isn't that your job?
This is the magazine feature coming.
Tatum goes for 49 points. And
Tatum wasn't even at
Bobby
the
writes-
podium tonight.
Bobby writes what Kornet did last night will be talked about for the next 40 years.
He's done. He's done at least 4
Monumental
calls. At
night.
least 4 calls.
Hey, I think. Listen, I'd like to learn a little bit more, Bobby. I think if anyone can do it, you can. I'd like to learn a little bit more about Luke.
All right, stay tuned.
I will.
I bet that Stromae Swift's gonna be something.
I'm
guess we'll have to
not.
talk to Grant about it.
I'm not done. Yeah, I'm not done with that, Josue. I need to hear more on the Stromae Swift connection too.
Yeah, I get to the bottom of this.
Dude, is this guy is our guy gonna come back and tell us what his comment was? I feel kind of bad.
I'm waiting for it. Marcus, I want you to get your money's worth. All right, just send it to us, and we'll talk about it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
just send it to us.
We don't have it. We don't have it.
Um,
All right.
Did we miss anything?
I think we're
Yeah,
good.
Good question. Let me just. Take
We're
a quick
good.
peek. Let me just take a quick peek.
We're good. While you're taking a peek, one more shout out to our sponsors, Athletic Greens. AG1, go to athleticgreens.com/garden. 1 year supply of vitamin D free travel packs, your one-stop shop for all your nutritional needs, 75 vitamins and supplements in 1 scoop of water. I mean, boom, done. In the morning, all you need. Go there, make good on that little promo, get your free 1 year supply of vitamin D in the travel packs. And of course, the #1 mental wellness app, Calm. Go to calm.com/garden, receive 40% off a Calm premium subscription. Send me your receipt, send me your full name, send me your address, send me your shirt size. I will send you a phenomenal t-shirt.
Bobby, do you have a shirt yet?
No.
No, I thought I'd be the first.
I did too.
Why you?
Every time, every single.
Because it's
time.
No,
his
you're
likeness.
right. The people behind the sponsors should have
The
gone
people,
first.
the
You're
people
right.
should get them. Anyway, thank you guys. We are going to wrap
We're
it.
done?
We're done. Unless you got something else. You guys can go. I got to go though. I can't.
I don't really have anything else. I just scrolled Twitter to see if there's anything
You guys-
interesting, but I don't think so. Anyways, sounded like Malcolm Brogdon had some nice things to say, maybe. Although I don't have time to listen to him. Brogdon, we didn't mention
check out the
Brogdon
YouTube
tonight.
page.
We didn't even mention Brogdon tonight, but another great.
We didn't talk about a
performance.
lot of players. He was ridiculous tonight.
21 points, 5 assists, or 5 rebounds, 6 assists.
Did he
Let's
miss?
talk
8
about
of
a little
9,
bit.
8 of
Okay,
9 from
boy.
the field, 3 of 3 from 3.
He's unbelievable.
I mean, what else can you say? This is a guy that's still, I still think he should be playing more. I know tonight it doesn't really matter. They didn't need him to play more, but 22 minutes tonight, 21 points, super efficient. Just a good, pacemaker out there. I feel like he's just, cool, calm, and collected. Sometimes he finishes a little too hard at the rim. I don't know if that's just him. I don't know what the reason is behind that, but
Yeah, last I looked, he was 49% at the rim. He's kind of been weirdly inefficient in there.
okay, so it's not just me seeing it, right? Like I feel like he just goes too hard to the rim, and the ball just shoots off the backboard too hard.
He had a couple outlier games where he missed like everything as well that kind of tanked the percentage. I remember. But yeah,
no. That aside, he's just been awesome for this team. I mean, that really is that's going to go down. I mean, if things keep trending in the direction they are, that's going to go down. It's one of the best off-season moves, I think, around the NBA. It was definitely underrated at the time. Kind of went under the radar.
The executives vote. The executives preseason voted it most underrated move. So
there you go.
It was.
So well, I mean, that was before they even saw what was, what the production was going to look like. But it's just he's just fitting in seamlessly. I feel like whether it's playing with the first unit, second unit, he's just one of those guys that can he's kind of like a bit of a chess piece out there. You can kind of just
great
toss him
move.
around.
I mean, it's the rare situation where fans dreamed of a guy being here for years. You among them, Jimmy, and it happened, and it worked great. Like, when does that ever happen? Everyone clamors for players all over the league all the time. And stuff never happens, and here he is.
Yeah, I think the difference was Brad Stevens was just a huge fan of his from the start, like back even in college. So I think that was
he recruited him to Butler.
Yeah, I think that was a big reason why there was always that possibility. And yeah, it's paid off. And I think just even off the court, his leadership style and I think the Celtics did good this year with bringing in players that want to like each other, want to play together, want to have the same goals, and whether it's Brogdon, Griffin.
Joe really emphasized that. Joe really emphasized that post game is they have good people, and he thinks that helps. Like the energy in the room, everybody helping each other, supporting each other. Blake told us in the locker room that he talks to everybody every game, just telling them different stuff he sees, telling them to stay ready, things can change. But and you see it on the sideline. He's always in guys' ears. So Joe emphasized that like a big reason he gets Blake in these games when Horford's out to start is that he's been so great, so supportive, so amicable in the role that he's in on this team, which isn't playing a lot, which is mostly kind of this veteran leader.
Yeah, and we sometimes joke about Blake or whatever on the court, but he does have a role in the team. And again, tonight's a perfect example of it, spelling guys who have the night off. Like if you can do that and the team can get by, then yeah, there's a spot for you on this roster, absolutely.
Right. And I think going into the season, we all sort of we got that feeling just from their interactions and the way they were on the bench. But I always thought that cool moment of Pritchard, Tatum, Blake at the I'm drawing a blank right now. What's the concert that they went to, Bobby? What's the guy's name? Jack Harlow. The Jack Harlow show.
Yeah,
I just thought that was really cool because you didn't see Blake doing that, in Brooklyn. I mean, obviously Brooklyn was a whole another.
He said it right out of the gate.
But yeah, I mean,
he was like, everything's different here. He was throwing a lot of shade.
Without saying names, it was just he couldn't help himself because he's just like, man, this is such a different atmosphere compared to where he came from, and I just think he wants to make the most of it, and he has up until this point, and this is it. You're seeing his teammates want to see him do well, and you're seeing the impact that he makes on just hanging around the guys in the locker room, especially on the road, Bobby. I'm sure you've seen it too. Like he's always one of the louder ones, making people laugh, and always has something to say to each and every player in the locker room, it seems like. And I think when they see him succeed the way he did now, I mean, that just makes everything that much better, So it's been. I'm so happy for Blake because I think this is what he sort of wanted to have, at this stage of his career, and this is a situation that's really ideal.
I don't think it can't have gone better when they signed him because they're not really depending on him, but they are getting some value out of him. And overall, the positive vibes have been totally welcome there. So this is
his chance to win a ring.
I mean, it's not like where I'm rooting for Blake personally to win a ring because I love, but
I am.
The more he's here, the more he grows on you, the more you root for him, the more you kind of like I said, anything that's kind of adding to the positive atmosphere here is great. And he's willing to lay himself on the line there. He's doing what he does. He takes charges. He's hitting the deck.
He's flying.
Diving for loose balls in a 30-point game. That stuff's great, man.
Yeah, 100%.
Love it.
And it sounds like he appreciates being in Boston. And I just saw Malcolm Brogdon had a pretty good quote about appreciating what he's got here. I just retweeted it if anyone wants to hear it, you guys can take a listen to it.
Go take a listen. Guys, we are going to wrap up. Obviously, make sure keep it with CLNS Media. Follow all of Bobby's post-game, articles, and then, of course, our videos. Josue, all of his features, all the Kornet. All the Kornet.
What do we got tonight? What do we got tonight coming up? What do we got? Anything we can look at tomorrow?
We got a Blake piece. A few of us caught up with him in the locker room, so it was nice to finally talk to him. He told a great story. I know him and Pritchard are always right in each other's ears, that he was recruiting Pritchard to Oklahoma, after his years there. And he said, he said his efforts were actually unsuccessful. Pritchard decommitted and then obviously went to Oregon. So Blake was like, I started to question my recruiting abilities then.
Yeah, that's funny.
He was afraid that Blake was going to hate him for that. But he was like, no, man, it's all good.
Blake is a great quote.
Yeah.
I hope he does some comedy here in Boston. He does comedy, right?
I've seen it. Yeah, I saw the roast on Comedy Central that he did. I forget who, but he was actually pretty funny.
Feel like we could have this conversation off air.
All right,
this will be on the Jimmy John. This will be on Jimmy John.
All right,
night, guys.
That's it.
Thanks, guys. We will see you. Thanks for hanging out with us. Most of you stayed the whole time, which was great. Fun game, fun show. Celtics win big, 140-105. As we said, follow all of our CLNS properties here for more on the game, more on the Celtics post-game commentary, more post-game reports from Bobby and Josue. And we're back on Wednesday with another show. So we will see you then. Take care.